Elvin and I'm the Green Party MP candidate for Markham Unionville. I'm so happy that CCCA has invited me here to share the Green platform. We have many great MPs across Canada. Right now we're in Markham Thornhill and I'm supporting Joshua Russell, who's the candidate for Markham Unionville. And I know there's a lot of Scarborough North people here, and your MP candidate is Eleni McDonald. And having such strong candidates is very important because the Green Party is the only party that does not whip the vote, which means that my main priority is to listen to the constituents of Markham Unionville, and I'm responsible for them, and then toe the party line second. I want to make Canada an aspirational country once again. Over the last decade, Canada has lost its luster. Investing in the oil sands and joining the Western-led coalition mission, we are no longer a peacekeeping country, and we are no longer a compassionate country. We are no longer being involved in international crisis like the one in Syria, and Canada is not doing enough to lend its hand to the international community and taking on some of these refugees. Canada is also not doing its part on the international stage when it comes to climate change. Withdrawing from Kyoto and not being a leader when it comes to global and environmental talks. As MP, I'll make sure that I'm all at these global climate talks, and we'll be at the UN Climate Summit in November in Paris, talking with global leaders and making sure that we're setting ambitious targets in the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions, and making sure that it's equitable for all parties involved, and that we're able to tackle climate change together. As MP, I've canvassed and talked to a lot of Canadians, and I've talked to some Canadians who want to support some Syrian refugees, but are hindered by a lot of the processing time that's involved, created by the Conservative government. As MP, I'd make sure that we would expedite the processing times in terms of refugees and immigrants, and supporting family reunification. The Green Party proposes that we accept 25,000 Syrian refugees. So a vote for me is for an aspirational Canada once again, and I hope that as a Green MP, I'll make change for Canada for the better. Thank you.
The Liberal MP candidate, Mr. Chen from the riding of Scarborough North. Thank you.
Thank you very much. 大家好, 大家好. I'm incredibly pleased and honored to be here. My name is Shaun Chen. I am your Liberal candidate for the riding of Scarborough North. And I have to say, after listening to Ms. Chang talk, I'm a bit frightened. And that's what the Conservatives want you to be. They want you to be frightened. And they want you to forget about what really matters most. Let me tell you what matters most. Over the past 9 years, I've worked with many families. I've talked to parents and young people. And what is happening on the ground is that the rich are getting richer and richer. The wealthiest 1% of Canadians are accumulating wealth. And in Canada and in cities like Toronto, the middle class is disappearing. The cost of living continues to rise while household incomes are stagnant. I know from working with many young people that a lot of them go off to university, they graduate, and they cannot find jobs. They cannot find jobs, and they go back to do another degree, or they go to another country to work. And many young people cannot afford to buy a home. Things were very different. I know from my parents, 我的父母到加拿大 40 years ago, they came to Canada. And when they came here, they came with very little money, 没有钱. They came with no university education, but they worked hard, and they worked many jobs, and they saved their money, and they could buy a car, and they could buy a home. Today, Canadians are suffering, and the past 10 years under Stephen Harper and the Conservatives, nothing has helped them. The super rich are getting richer, and the middle class has disappeared. What we have to do as a country is to invest, and that is why the Liberal plan is very different than the Conservative plan and the NDP plan. Both the Conservatives and the NDP say that we should balance the budget. Mr. Trudeau and the Liberal Party say that is the wrong approach. We are not going to balance the budget because we're going to be upfront and honest with Canadians. Right now, Canada is the only G7 country in a recession. We as a country are the only G7 country in a recession. Now is not the time to cut and cut and cut like the Conservatives have done for 9 years. It's also not the time for the NDP, who is well known to be the worst fiscal managers all across the country. The time right now is to invest. And that is why we as the Liberal Party are going to invest in creating jobs, in kick-starting the economy to help the middle class in Canada grow. Now, why is that a good thing? Number one, we are in a recession. Number two, Canada has a low federal debt to GDP ratio. So if you look at Canada's federal debt to GDP ratio, it is 35%. When you compare that to a country like Greece, it's 155%. What does that mean? It means that we as a country are producing enough that we can borrow money. Borrow money to make investments today so that future generations can prosper and become successful. The third reason is that we have an infrastructure deficit. A lot of our infrastructure needs to be repaired, needs to be replaced. Our roads need to be paved. Our hospitals need to be rebuilt. We need to invest in the economy today. And finally, borrowing, as you know, is at a very low interest rate. Those of you who are able to buy a home or a condo or a house will know that borrowing right now will cost very little. Whereas if you took out a mortgage 15, 20 years ago, the interest rates were much higher. The federal government has the ability to borrow at very low interest rates. So what are we going to do as a Liberal Party? We're going to invest in Canadians $60 billion in infrastructure to build public transit. When you look at Toronto, for example, I have to ask the question, why is there no Scarborough subway in Scarborough North? Because we haven't had a federal partner at the table. For 10 years, the Conservative government has not stepped up to the plate and has not provided the leadership that we need a federal government to provide. That is what the Liberals will do. Invest in public transit. We will also invest in job creation, green jobs. I can tell you, working with young people, that the greatest challenge that our young people face today is the future of our planet. The Conservatives have ignored the Kyoto Protocol. They have done nothing to make sure that future generations have clean air to breathe, that we are reducing our carbon emissions, that we are investing in green technologies, and that is what the Liberal Party will do. We are going to build water and wastewater facilities. We are going to invest in clean energy production. We are going to make sure that our young people, 5,000 new green jobs a year, will be able to secure employment in that field. And that is why investment is the answer. We are also going to invest in social infrastructure. We are going to build senior homes because we have an aging population. We're going to build community centers, and we're going to invest in childcare spaces. The NDP have a very nice slogan. They're not even here today. I don't know where they are. But they keep advertising that they're going to provide $15 childcare. I can tell you, working at the Toronto District School Board, it took us 5 years to build enough spaces to accommodate full-day kindergarten and before and after-school care in our schools. But the NDP, they seem to have a magic bullet. $15 childcare is going to happen just like that. And meanwhile, there's no money to back up their plan. we're going to invest $20 billion into social infrastructure, including building child care spaces. Because you can't provide $15 child care or $10 child care or $20 child care if you don't have the space. That's why we're going to invest in infrastructure. The other thing that the Conservatives have done is made a mockery of Canada's immigration system. It has been mismanaged. When I talk to people at the door, they tell me it is incredibly difficult to get a visitor visa for family members to come to Canada. They tell me that they have parents and grandparents in other countries that they want to sponsor, and they're not able to do it. That is why key to the Liberal platform is family reunification. As a Liberal government, we will double the number of new applications for parents and grandparents each year to 10,000. Because I know from my own experience how important it was for me to have my grandparents help raise me when I was a child. Even though I was born here, well, the grandparents were at home and they were able to teach many things to me that are important. And that's why we're going to work hard to reunite families. We're also going to work hard to make sure that we rebuild Canada's reputation. The Conservatives have put in Bill C-24, which creates two-tier citizenship in Canada. Mr. Trudeau has said, a Canadian is a Canadian is a Canadian. And it doesn't matter if you were born in Canada or if you worked hard and followed the rules and became a Canadian citizen and you were born somewhere else. It shouldn't matter. We will repeal the Conservative Bill C-24 because in Canada, when you earn Canadian citizenship, you deserve the rights of every Canadian and not let it up to the Conservative immigration minister to make a decision as to whether or not you should have your citizenship. We have courts, we have a criminal justice system that when you do something wrong, that system will take care of it. But you do not give the arbitrary right to a Conservative minister to take away your citizenship. That is wrong. As a Liberal government, we're going to restore Canada's reputation. And I can tell you, it was my parents. My parents came to Canada 45 years ago, as I told you. And my parents always told me, it was Prime Minister Pierre Elliott Trudeau who opened Canada's doors to immigrants. It was a Liberal government that put in Canada's multiculturalism policy. And it was a Liberal government that put in our Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms so that no matter what you look like or where you were born or what language you speak, that you are treated with equal rights and respect. And I look forward to talking more about that today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 以上有请的是保守党的长滨女士，向其他的任何一个党的候选人发问，由她来回答。
You have 2 minutes.
嗨，大家好，我是长滨市保守党的国会议员候选人。因为我刚才跟主办方交流过，我待马上就要走，因为有下个活动，所以我只问一下我们自由党的候选人。我的问题就是说，既然所有的华裔都反对大麻和毒品注射站，为什么自由党不听我们选民的意见，一意孤行要大麻合法化和毒品注射站 ？So my question for my neighbor friend is, all the Chinese residents in Scarborough are opposing the legalization of marijuana and they are opposing the drug injection site. Why do you ignore all the Chinese voters? Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Ms. Chang, for that question. And first of all, let me say this. I don't know how you can speak on behalf of every Chinese voter. You just said that every Chinese voter is opposed to this. As a representative, I can tell you, there's a diversity of views in any community. And as a representative, I would never generalize any community and pretend that I can speak on their behalf. To answer your question about marijuana, our Liberal Party platform is very clear. We are going to legalize and regulate marijuana. The reason why is this. When you look at the research from the World Health Organization, they are reporting that in Canada, 28% of teenagers aged 15 years old have used marijuana. Marijuana is on the streets. It's being sold to our young people, and there's no control over it. You can read the stories of marijuana grow operations in your own communities where criminal organizations are producing marijuana and selling it to young children, to people on the streets. This is wrong. As a Liberal Party, we do not want marijuana sold to children. Let me make that clear. Because the Conservatives have continued to fearmonger and spread all these fear-mongering issues among the community. What we want to do is keep it away from children. So Canada is a country that hasn't legalized marijuana, and 28% of young people have used it. In the Netherlands, those of you, I don't know if you've been to Amsterdam, you know that in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands, marijuana is legal. The same survey was done by the World Health Organization, and marijuana use in the Netherlands among young people, teenagers, is 17%. So when you legalize and you regulate and you control, you actually keep it out of the hands of young people. And that is what the Liberal Party plans to do.
Okay.
We want to keep our children safe.
Sorry, time is up. Thank you very much.
So I'm a data analyst, and it really concerns me that the Conservative government has gotten rid of the long-form census. In the 21st century, a lot of organizations and governments are using data to make better decisions, quantify the policies and kind of actions that they've made, so that way they're able to see how effective policies are. My question is to Conservatives, why get rid of the long-form census and isn't losing data, and I haven't even gotten into the other data loss, isn't having less data unproductive or unproductive?
大家好，我是长滨市士嘉堡爱金阁选区的国会议员候选人。因为在现在这个年代，科技已经非常先进，有很多不同的方式去做民意调查，所以我们。比如说，我每天在选区敲门的话，这也是一个做民意调查的方式。我在选区说一遍一遍又一遍，就是说大家最关心的问题还是大麻合法化的问题、毒品注射站的问题和经济问题。我们刚才自由党的朋友已经非常清楚地表达，自由党的这位朋友是要搞大麻合法化的，而且他提出了很多自己的观点，为什么要大麻合法化？他也总结了自由党是一定要有财政赤字的，怎样去解决财政赤字？它的方法是借债，大家知道借债呢是要还的嘛，要还本付息的。那怎么办呢？又有赤字，又要还债，唯一的方法就是加税了。但是加拿大的税收结构可以看到，交税的主体是中产阶级，就像您跟我一样辛辛苦苦上班的人。所以归根到底呢，自由党的最后的财政方案就是赤字、债务、加税，只有加税才能填补它那些财政上的亏洞啊。所以总结一下，我们跟自由党最大的区别是，保守党反对大麻合法化，保守党反对毒品注射站，保守党减税加福利，并且有财政平衡。谢谢大家。
好，谢谢。